Ladies and gentlemen, it's best ball season.
Sorry,
We are
buddy.
here. Oh,
Whoops there, Kev.
you know what?
Go right ahead.
Everybody gets one, just like Spider-Man. But you know what? We are live. We are with the family drafting tonight. We have Britt. We have Andrew Cooper. It's the Lightning Round crew drafting here. Of course, below me, Mr. Joey Wright, my man Joey. How are you, my friend?
I'm doing good. Could this be like the Dave and Buster's family? Since we all broke bread last year at Dave and Buster's.
That's
So
right.
we could be like the Busters, because I need to be part of like a clique here, you know?
The Busters.
The
Yeah,
Busters.
the Busters.
I kind of like being the Busters. What do you think,
I think it's
Britt?
pretty good.
I almost busted Britt's hand trying to block her shot at playing hoops last year.
Literally out of nowhere, block in the back, the most egregious foul ever because he couldn't stand losing.
I wasn't losing. I wasn't losing. I was in the process of winning. Defense is an important part of championship.
The one thing you did
Especially-
lose though was Deer Hunter. I remember Coop like
I lost
hard.
everything. I lost like some garbage fake axe throwing game to Joey.
Yes.
Like I don't know why, and I still walked away.
I
with-
wasn't gonna bring it up because I'm the guest and you lost, but like you just make excuses and call it garbage. That's not nice to me,
I actually have my Dave and Buster's card right here,
Whoa.
ready to go at all times.
There it
I think
is.
that's why you have lightning. We all felt sorry for you losing everything.
Yeah, I'm a big loser. Anyway, here's the intro video.
That's a bop, by the way.
Banger.
I feel like Richard
like
Marks
that.
is going to find his way into that.
All right, Kev,
Vocal.
tell everyone what we're actually doing today.
We're drafting an underdog best ball here. We're back on underdog. We were with best ball 10s last week, but we are back. I guess maybe this is our home base here. We are drafting actually in like 15 seconds. So let me pull up the handy dandy draft board here. So we are back to half PPR. Anything else that we should know about this, Coop?
Nope. Half PPR, you should know that if you're not signed up for Underdog, use promo code Fantasy Alarm. They'll match up to 100% of your deposit, up to $100. Whether you put in 20, they match 20. If you put in 100, they match 100. That's how you get in here. And then we'll tell you later how to join the Fantasy Alarm family. And that's how you get into this draft. And Joey, Wright, I have to warn you right now
Mhm.
that this particular draft, compared to all the other ones we've done, there's no rules. So in the other ones, I was saying, okay, we got a wait list. We're only letting in people who haven't played yet. In this one, I just said, hey, Joey Wright's coming on, special guest. Whoever's in first is in. I don't care who it is. This is a murderer's row of the Fantasy Alarm best ball crew. Like this
And
is
I believe
yeah,
Kevin,
he's-
me, then you. That's just there's gonna be a lot of GDs on the show tonight.
It's spicy, dude. It's spicy. This is there's a lot of the Fantasy Alarm gangsters are in this one. So just so you know who we're drafting with, let's go by the board here. I'm on the clock. Ooh, what do I do? I'm gonna take a player I haven't taken much of in Stephon Diggs here. I've taken a lot of
Okay.
Travis Kelce, oddly, but I'm gonna take Diggs. So we have Greg Falk, we have Smurfo, we have Poncho, we have Hamburglar, Kevin Tompkins, Joey Wright, me. We have Colby Conway, who's a Fantasy Alarm analyst. We have Kangas, who's a lifetime Fantasy Alarm member. We have Icy Through, who's been in virtually all of these. And then we have Britt Flynn and Rock and Roll Ray. So like Murderer's Row, maybe a soft spot in the draft where Britt Flynn's drafting, but everybody else is like amazing at this. What do you think about that, Britt?
I think that it's really
Stunned.
great that like you, Colby, Kev, and Joey are all just back to back to back. I think that Joey's right. There's going to be a lot of accidental, inadvertent cursing going on tonight.
I think Rock and Roll Ray might be this might be the first one for him, if I'm not mistaken, but I think everybody else has done at least a couple of these. So we have some grizzled vets of the best balls, the early best ball scene in here. Plus, I mean, it's June now, so it's practically fantasy football season.
It is. I'm super ready. All the news that keeps coming out, like just by the minute, honestly, like it's so hard to not buy into the OTA hype and all of that stuff, but we're so excited about football that like we can't help but get excited about it. So
Exactly.
Sky
So
Wars season, baby.
Joey, got to ask you.
Yeah.
You took Cooper Kupp there.
I did.
Walk me through it, man. Fear, no fear.
No fear. He's my wide receiver 3. If Jefferson or Chase were there, I would have taken them instead. I've taken Kelsey a lot, so I wanted to do something a little different. So Coop was my next highest player. So in best ball for the few, probably say 5-6 rounds, I just take best available. I really do. I don't come in with any strategy except for best available player.
And that's the beauty of these first few rounds. Correct me if I'm wrong, Kev, but I know we looked at it last year. It's very, very similar, the first few rounds of this, to regular ADP, is it not?
Yeah, there might be a couple switches. Like I would say Eckler would probably go a little bit higher in, full PPR versus half PPR here. But other than that, there's not going to be much difference, which is why this is really great practice. If you're doing your home leagues in August and early September, this is, you throw a few bucks into Underdog and, use promo code Fantasy Alarm and get into these drafts, because this is as good of a practice as you're going to get. If you go on another site with their mock drafts, you got some joker taking Tim Tebow or Justin Tucker first overall and hopping out of the draft. So, this is the best practice, especially if you're doing your home leagues or other leagues.
Remember when that used to happen in the Yahoo best ball drafts? Like, not best ball, the Yahoo mock drafts, where it was just like every time somebody would come out and take Tebow or take some joke pick.
Manziel.
It was infuriating because you're like, I'm actually trying to get out here and mock and be better and learn what to do. And then they would just ruin it every time. So I was so excited when Underdog came out and there's actual money on the line that people had to pay attention.
Yeah, I just wish they would add a chat. I think it would be funny if there was a little chat in there.
Oh, there would be so much trolling and smack talking.
Even during the season, it'd be kind of cool to have a chat. Just be like, yeah, what's up? Speaking of the chat, we've got Greg Thomas in the house. We got J-Man J in the house. What's up, gang? Thanks for popping in with us. Join us if you guys are out there on YouTube. Pop into the chat over there. It's at the Fantasy Alarm YouTube. Pop in. Let's hang out.
Let's do it. Razz my picks. Razz everybody's picks. Tell us what picks are great. What picks stink. I can take it. I'm a man. I'm almost 40.
I haven't got a beard. All right. So you can't come at me razzing my picks. All right. So let's see what we got here. Through 2 rounds, I'm looking at the ADP here. A lot of chalk. The first round, almost completely chalk. I know Kevin Tompkins has been campaigning to get Devontae Adams out of the first round. He wants him out of there. But beyond that, looks pretty standard. Kangas, back-to-back, A.J. Brown, Garrett Wilson. Feeling pretty good about that for Kangas.
Mm-hmm. So does he.
I'm seeing Garrett Wilson go in the first round pretty often. Yeah, they're in the chat saying, like my start so far. He goes in the first round from time to time now. The thing about Amon-Ra St. Brown is such a very safe pick. It's just with half PPR, I'm just like, man. I'm also a hater. So.
But as a number 2, you can't really go wrong with that.
He's going to be in your lineup. He offers a great floor to your lineup. Right? So when I take a guy like Amon-Ra St. Brown, which is never, but if I do, then there are times where I look at it and say, okay, I've got this very safe guy. Now with my later picks, I want to take like as many boom bust type guys as I want, because Amon-Ra with his low A dot, but he gets a lot of targets. Like he offers a decent floor. You want to try and build some combination of ceiling and floor. If you look at the past few years, some of the teams that have won big money have had guys like Zeke on them, where they offer a good floor. Zeke scored a touchdown every week that he played for 9 straight weeks. Right.
And yet he's still unsigned.
What happened, Joe? You get sniped?
Hamburglar. I thought this was like a Grimace Pro environment.
Got you with the Metcalf. I love taking Metcalf, man. Tell us what you like about Metcalf.
I mean, look what he did last year with Geno Smith. I mean, it has a lot to do with Geno Smith. I mean, I think he has every ability to finish as a top 12 quarterback again. And he's being taken as like the 17th quarterback. And Metcalf's going to be a huge part of his success. So yeah, like I'm on the clock.
You're on the clock. So yeah, but for real though, it's like I hearken the situation to the Tampa Bay Mike Evans and Deshaun Jackson and rookie Chris Godwin situation, where the question was always, is Chris Godwin going to take away snaps from Deshaun Jackson? And eventually he did take over that role. But it never affected. It never really affected Mike Evans as a split end. And it's the same situation now. Like Jackson Smith and Jigba could take over for a 31-year-old Tyler Lockett. First of all, I got to interrupt this and say, I can't believe you guys just let me pair Josh Allen with Stephon Diggs in the 3rd round. Are you guys outside of your mind? I'm 100% going to win this. But what I was saying is that there's no threat to DK Metcalf's snaps. There's no world where they get down to the goal line and run 2 tight ends or a fullback or whatever, and they say, hey, DK, we're going to take you out here, and we're going to leave these other 2 guys in. Am I right? Like, DK feels like the guy that is the most safe in this situation.
Yeah, he's pretty insulated. It's gonna be a fight, and we talked about it earlier this week on Lightning Round, where these rookies, we talk about, how they're already in a with Jackson Smith and Jigba, you've got DK and Lockett there, but rookies can force the issue. I don't think we talk enough about that, where talent can win out, and maybe Seattle has to play more 11 personnel because they have 3 wide receivers. They have Geno Smith, where they need to see if this is for real in year 2. So if Jackson Smith and Jigba can get on the field and stay on the field, we're looking at a really, really good passing offense that you're going to want pieces out of.
Hey, Kev, while you're waxing poetic here, we have 2 teams starting with the mac and cheese start. Which one do you like better, Kangas or Hamburger?
Kangas there. I gotta say Hamburglar is good. It's such an advantage to be able to, it's just like last year, where if you had like one of the top 6 picks, you're getting, the top players. I mean, the one thing with Kangas, I love AJ Brown, don't get me wrong. I love Garrett Wilson. I still think Devonta Smith, that how efficient that offense is in Philly. I like Hill, Smith, Metcalf just a little bit more than his 3, but both really good starts, but I got to give the edge to Hamburger there for at least the probably the bigger spike weeks with Tyreek Hill.
Yeah, it looks pretty good for him. I'm on the clock here, and I just do not know what to do with this group of fellas.
What are you thinking? What's your thought process?
I'm thinking I can go upside with Christian Watson or safety with Keenan Allen, and I think I'm going to go upside. You got to, man.
Go outside. Good job, Coop.
Right. It's like, the thing is, he showed us that he's clearly capable of those monster touchdowns, whether he catches them or not. Like that one was in his hands that he didn't catch. But I'll tell you, his strides, he has those big, long strides. There were times where he flashed some of that Randy Moss. Not that he is Randy Moss, but that Randy Moss of like, no one's catching him. Right. Like if he gets the ball, and he's even with the safeties, you're not going to get him if he gets going, like that gazelle stride. Go back and watch my favorite is watching Randy Moss return punts, and like he just doesn't. Nobody looks like him on the entire field. Everyone's taking these little like twinkle toe. Like imagine Kyler Murray running next to Randy Moss. 2 very different running styles, though they're both fast. But Randy Moss, he used to take 10 yards would be 3 steps for that. It's like watching Giannis dunk from the 3-point line.
Yeah, Randy Moss and Kyler Murray would be like Randy Moss and his son.
Right, yeah. And with that, I think there's Watson has a little bit of that, man. He is a freak. He's a freak. Kev, are you excited? What's going on? I know that you're a Packers fan. What's going on in Packers land, man?
Things are good. Jaden Reed's Luke Musgrave are playing with the ones right now. So, very exciting to see some of the rookies get involved. Look, these guys are going to get mixed and matched as far as Romeo Doubs, Jaden Reed. I think Christian Watson's probably the anchor of that offense as far as I don't think he's going to come off the field that much. I think you could probably pencil in good 80 to 85% of the routes for him this year in that offense should he stay healthy. But it's all going to hinge on Love. We're going to see what this offense is with Matt LaFleur and Aaron Rodgers gone. Without Aaron Rodgers there to audible out of some of the run calls that LaFleur has called, I think we're going to see a little bit more running out of the Packers, but we're still going to see the shot plays. And those are mostly going to go to Watson. He has obviously the speed and the size over the corners to be able to make those plays. We saw the first game of the season, he dropped that, that sure touchdown. And that was kind of an ominous start to the season, his rookie season. But I think, as Jordan Love goes, as his progression goes, the Packers go, and obviously Christian Watson's the big piece and tied to that.
Yeah, I mean, might as well go around the horn real quick. We're all unbiased fantasy analysts, of course, right, Brett?
Of course.
Completely and fully unbiased. But we have our favorite teams. Joey, what's going on with Bucks camp? Have you heard anything interesting from OTAs popping out over there?
No,
How's Baker going?
I mean, Baker is going as well as he can. I think. I don't think anyone in Tampa is very excited about Baker or Kyle Trask. There is some optimism for Rashad White, though. Like, I think, he kind of living in Fournette's shadow last year. This year, he kind of comes out of it a little bit. When you look at his per run and per catch numbers, it's actually pretty inspiring. And I got to go to the Rams Bucks game last year and watch him in person. And just watching him play, I could tell it's just give this kid work and he'll be great. So there's some excitement for Rashad White, but that's pretty much it.
He looked good, man. He looked good. It went from Leonard Fournette last year was like, some of these guys need to step up and help me, to Rashad White basically taking over. So it was kind of interesting, the dynamic there. Britt, anything coming out of Cowboys world?
Nothing really interesting on the front of skill position players, except for the fact that the rookie corner, Eric Scott, is playing with the first teamers, and Dak threw an unlucky interception that got tipped off a receiver's hands. So what else is new, right? That happened all year last year. But yeah, nothing too exciting from the skill position players, which I'm really kind of waiting on. And I want to hear what Tony Pollard looks like coming back from that ankle injury. So we'll have to see.
Yeah, the Cowboys, some of these teams like Cowboys, Patriots, if any interception gets tipped or whatever, it goes into the megaphone and comes out on the other end as just ridiculous propaganda, right? It's just, they're starved right now. Like, our beat writers, and I even wrote an article about Ty Montgomery, but our beat writers are going wild talking about Ty Montgomery and stuff. And I'm like, all right, maybe settle down a little bit. Even though I even wrote about him, but I'm just like, come on now, At a Patriots camp, there's some Ty Montgomery hype. There's a lot of Tyquan Thornton hype that he's being used fairly creatively. Some not just deep balls, but screens, things like that. Bill O'Brien and Mac Jones basically saying that everybody's on the same page this year, which apparently last year they weren't. And they didn't name an offensive coordinator at all, so how could you be? So interesting coming out of camp there, but not too much beyond hype for guys like that. I think a lot of it's pretty settled as to who's doing what for the most part.
By the way, Justin Fields a whole round after.
I was gonna say, dude, when you got him there, it was kind of annoying me because the last round I had to take Josh Allen to pair with Diggs, but I was looking at that and I was like, man, I would have felt pretty good with a bunch of these QBs here. Angus getting Trevor Lawrence even.
Colby. Oh, Colby.
That's your boy?
My heart. Marquise Brown, now that Hopkins is gone, absolutely.
How do you feel about him with Clayton Tune? Do you think that's going to affect him at all, or do you still think that he's just going to be a target monster? And
I think he's just going to get volume. So for PPR, I'm totally fine with him. So I'm gonna make my pick. Sorry.
I think Joey's right about that.
Just,
the thing is with certain player types, like the big example is Mike Evans. He's a downfield guy, and you have to throw him open. You have to throw him contested catches, but you have to throw him catchable contested catches. With what Marquise Brown does with the underneath routes, and I've seen him get like 10, 15 targets a game just on slants and little dump downs. You don't need to throw him open as much as the scheme opens it up for him. So I think he's going to be. I'm grabbing him wherever I can.
I want to know why this team. I want to know why my team is not in a puppy or in a poodle or a best ball mania. Isn't that the way that always goes? You draft a team and you're like, why can't I have this team?
And the thing is, I'm looking through and there aren't. It's not like there's any glaring bad teams though, because I'm wondering. Because I love my team too, or if you're looking around and don't see any bad teams, your team's a bad team. That might be the case.
That might be you can't spot the mark within 30 minutes. You're the mark.
That's right, dude. But no, I feel pretty good about my squad.
It took me 6 rounds to make a pick I didn't like. So,
yeah. The question now, so this is where, in general, actually not even. So for me, for these, I really don't see people reaching for best ball specific players for these first few rounds. You don't see many people going for the boom bust Tyquan Thornton type players even now. So I think through the first 6-7 rounds, ADP is pretty close to what you get for redraft ADP. Where it really, truly splits off is when people start taking the second tight ends and second quarterbacks, right? Because you have to draft 2 or 3. That's where ADP gets thrown out the window. But for the first, 7, 8 rounds, I don't see why a redraft league would go any different than this. Do you guys see any picks in here where you're like not doing that in a regular league? It looks to me, it looks pretty much what a redraft league looks like.
Yeah,
Well-
aside from maybe Devontae Adams going in the first, but he went at the very end of the first, so it kind of, washes out. But yeah, other than that,
I could still see it though in redraft. I don't
Well,
see
yeah.
why. Maybe a little bit stacking, maybe some reaching for stacks, I guess, but I don't know. It just feels this is the best look you're going to get on June 1st at ADP.
Yep. I was going to take JSN in the 5th or in the 6th round. So I do think Jahmyr Gibbs will probably. I think he's going to be rising up draft boards. I think he's going to be the rookie riser, especially if you're looking in redraft. Jahmyr Gibbs might be an early 3rd round pick by the time we're drafted in.
Coop.
I know.
August.
I'm amazing at this. I know. I have actually surprisingly, I've been touting Waller all offseason, telling people to draft him. I think this might be the first time I've actually drafted him.
Well, Wall Dog?
Yeah. I mean, I usually wait for like Goddard and Kittle to go, thinking I'll get Waller, but I never do. So this time I just said, you know what? I'm going up. I'm going up and getting him.
How dare you? How could you?
I do like that David Montgomery pick, though. I feel like I'm the only person in the world that still likes David Montgomery. Joey.
No, I think he's going to get. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Joey.
I want to say, as our guest of honor, because you just picked him. We know you like him. Joey,
Yes.
Are you picking David Montgomery?
I am at this value. Yes, I'm picking David Montgomery. Where his value was about 2 months ago, I was not taking David Montgomery. I do like that he settled down. That Gibbs pick when Swift was on the team for that 48 hours didn't make a whole lot of sense to me. And now that Swift is out, I do see kind of where the lines are headed with this. And there's no reason that 2 running backs can't be in this offense, especially where she got him this late. I like that pick.
Britt's drafting her friend Frank Ragnow via David Montgomery.
And Dan Skipper, just vicariously through the running backs.
I mean, they have a good offensive line. There's no doubt about it. I love the way they went about the rebuild. The Jets, the Dolphins, and the Lions really kind of set the standard for the modern rebuild, in my opinion. Just building it from the inside out, solid lines, letting the wide receivers and stuff walk for compensatory picks. Like, I love what those teams did. Even the Jets, who I dislike. I mean, look at the shirt I'm wearing. So for me to say that the Jets did a good job getting like Elijah Vera Tucker and Mekhi Becton and all those guys, Laken Tomlinson. I mean, they have a good line. They have good weapons too. They have everything. Now they have Aaron Rodgers. That team could be good. It's hard to say.
I know we all hate Dallas Goedert apparently in these streets, but
in best ball, there's no reason not to though.
Yeah,
it's in redraft where I'm just not taking him at ADP, but in best ball
at pick 92 at ADP 860, like that's 2 rounds.
He's that guy that in our mind has been a top 5 tight end, but he's just never been. He gets hurt every year. Gets hurt every season.
That's kind of where my thinking was. I was looking at Waller over Goddard anyway. And then when Waller went, I was like, no, I'm just going to pivot and take Montgomery because I don't see him putting that type of value up. Maybe I'm wrong, but I think that it's going to be too much of AJ Brown and Devontae Smith. I don't think Goddard's really going to get that much.
Like the offense is just so efficient enough and it's so condensed enough. Like between those 3, between Smith, Brown, and Goddard, nobody else was really getting on the field. We saw, the Eagles were, I believe, bottom 3 in running back receptions as well. That's a bingo card for you, Coop.
There it is, dude. Check it off. I'm looking through some of these drafts to see who's taking players from their favorite teams. Kangas has Amari Cooper. Colby Conway. We're on Texans watch. No Texans yet, Colby. We'll have to see. That's his go-to. Some of the other guys I know, like obviously we've done a bunch of drafts with Ponch and stuff. I don't know who your favorite players are. So if you're in the chat, throw them in there. I want to know who your squads are so I can snipe your favorite players.
It's the price of admission to get in this draft. We
need
need your players.
The real price of admission to get this draft is use promo code Fantasy Alarm and on Underdog and get signed up there. They'll match up to 100% of your deposit, and then go over and use promo code COOP COOP on Fantasy Alarm on the website. Become a member. You'll get 7 days free trial and 6 months 50% off. So I mean, today's Thursday already. We have special guest Joey Wright here today. Next week, we're having special guest Wyatt from JWB Fantasy. We're bringing in some heavy hitters that are deeply involved in best ball in this time of year. And we're talking ball with those folks. So get signed up, get in the Discord. Promo code COOP, 60% off. Sorry, 50% off for 6 months. And that'll get you in the Discord. And then you can have 7 days to check everything behind the paywall, join a draft. And if you decide you don't want to be part of the family, you know what? That's fine. That's your decision. I'd like you to be part of it because we have a lot of fun, but it's up to you. All right. I'm picking Juju Smith-Schuster. How's that sound?
God.
Homer picks. Let's go. Wore my most Homer shirt possible today for this one.
We should have known. We just should have known.
That's right.
Yeah. I'm a Packer fan out here drafting Bears and Lions. So
Oh,
I mean,
yeah, that's painful.
I said a lot of nice things about the Jets and Dolphins. A lot of the nice things about the Jets and Dolphins. So, Joey, from your squad here, what picks are you feeling good about? So, for instance, my team, Christian, I love almost all my picks, but Christian Watson, I just kind of picked out of a group. Is there anybody that you love from your team? Anybody that you were uncertain about?
I have kind of been touting Samaje P. Ryan a lot this offseason.
Yeah.
Sean Payton would give his running back 2 in his offense at least 173 total touches this season. And why that number is important for me is there were 7 games in the last 2 seasons where Samaje P. Ryan had 10 touches or more in a game, and he averaged 18.1 PPR fantasy points in all those games. Even if Javonte Williams comes back ready to go to start the season out, I think Samaje P. Ryan's going to have enough work this season to be a comparable flex option.
God, Joey, I love a good stat. My goodness. That was a good one. I'm feeling good about it. I mean, and if you think about what Joe Lombardi and Sean Payton have done, they love throwing to the running back, don't they?
Mm-hmm.
I'm on the clock here. Talk amongst yourselves.
Coop's team sucks, guys. Coop's team sucks.
So bad.
Oh, man.
So
yeah,
Derek,
he took Waller. How dare he?
And another tight end.
Yep.
I'm going heavy.
Stack that.
Now I'm
stack
done
that triple Buffalo stack.
I'm done with tight end now.
the Stoneworth value on the draft board.
I think it's an amazing value, Kev. Phenomenal. Because you just got the slot wide receiver for the Buffalo Bills, and he has tight end eligibility. Unless they sign DeAndre Hopkins or something, I don't see why he can't be a top 2 target on that team, Kev. Tell me why he can't.
I'm sorry, you Jim Romed me with the phenomenal, so you popped me on that one.
Rugula.
Let's go to Brad and La Jolla. I just auto draft. I don't have to draft out a tight end. Look at that. I got my Look at that. Look at that. That's next level strategy. You distract the person when they're on the clock with a Dalton Kincaid question. Make them draft another tight end. Probably a tight end I would have drafted over Kincaid, by the way.
Why?
I'm just not I know Buffalo needs a second target. They're probably not going to be in the DeAndre Hopkins sweepstakes, even though they should be, just because of money. I know they want to put him in the slot. I know he's a fantastic receiver, but that
all sounds pretty good to me, Kevin.
But I would much rather have the Khalil Shakir pick later in the draft, who actually plays in the slot.
You can't start Khalil at tight end, bro.
That's fine. I would much rather have. Let me go through the tight ends here. I would much rather have Chigga Conquo, Dalton Schultz, I don't know about Cole Kmet, maybe Dulcich over Kincaid.
Dulcich, dude, that's insane, bro.
We're playing the Buffalo wide receiver 2 game, or second pass catching target, like we played the Green Bay wide receiver 2 second pass catching target for all those years. I feel like we're just getting.
Yeah, but this isn't Robert Tonyan. They're in a win now window, and they use their first round pick on a guy that is one of the best pass catching players in this draft overall.
Not even their first round pick. They traded up. To make sure that they got him.
If Dalton Kincaid is not a featured part of their offense, that would be an embarrassment on a monumental proportion. And as a Patriots fan, I'm here for it. I truly hope they did completely flub that pick, and Dalton Kincaid is not going to be a featured part of the offense. But that would honestly be great. That'd be worth the draft pick I just made on Kincaid. But you have to understand that this team, if they did screw up that pick, they just set them back their franchise monumentally.
I like that pick, Kevin. The Damian Harris pick. I wasn't going to go there because I needed tight end, but I like the Harris that late.
Who took Mingo? Hamburglar.
I thought about him too, and then it was between Harris and Mingo. But my running backs, I took Derrick Henry. Like, I never take Derrick Henry.
You don't.
If I'm gonna play the we're gonna project 300 touches for a running back, I got like both of them in Derrick Henry.
Now I just
A
got
very
touchdown
untraditional
Mingo.
start.
I took touchdown Mingo instead.
Kevin, do you like Harris better than Cook?
I think there's going to be more. If Buffalo's going to up their efficiency, if they're going to be able to score more, I think Damian Harris is going to be the bigger beneficiary of that versus James Cook, who is certainly going to be the better receiving back. I think he's going to have to be. I mean, what is he that much better than what Devin Singletary's role is last year? I mean, certainly the hope at Buffalo that it is, but I'm much rather pay the price for Damian Harris rounds later than James Cook.
We're
half PPR as well
later. So
half PPR. So those guys are fine. And it's like every time he scores a touchdown, he's in your lineup. And with Josh Allen, you got to protect that guy. They've really, if it's pass interference in the end zone, I'd like to see Damian Harris get the first crack rather than I drafted Josh Allen in this draft, so I would like for him to get all the cracks. But in real life football, you don't want Josh Allen doing too much.
No, and we're only a season removed from Harris having it was like 29 carries inside the 10-yard line, and he turned 10 of those into touchdowns.
Right. And if you're not going to,
I think so much of a better fit for Buffalo.
Right. If you're not going to add any pass catchers besides Dalton Kincaid, then you're banking on Josh Allen. If Josh Allen goes down, season's over. If Stephon Diggs goes down, season's over. Mm-hmm. Which the Steelers did that for years, and that happened year after year after year. They said that team could have won the Super Bowl in any given year if Big Ben and Le'Veon Bell and Antonio Brown stayed healthy, but they were just too top heavy. And if one of those players went down, the season was over. And it was often Big Ben, but at different points, each of those guys missed time. So I don't know. I don't know if I love the top heavy move. Patriots are just like top heavy is great for fantasy, but not great for a long playoff run. Yeah.
I just want to make sure that this is on the record from Kangas. Kincaid is legit. Watch him live. If he doesn't go off, we'll take a pie to the face.
Oh, we got a pie bet.
Pie bet, dude. So that's
on the record.
Kev, are you accepting that pie bet? Are you? And what does go off mean?
What I was gonna say, that's what the qualifier is. Go off.
I would set the over under at given where he's drafted. So when you draft a tight end as a back end tight end 1, you expect them to have top 5 upside. He's going tight end 11. So how about what's in between 11 and 5? 7? How about tight end 7 or higher as the over under? Is that acceptable? You guys think?
Just go 7.5 and go. You make it even, so there's no pushes.
7.5. Kangas, you accept that as a pie bet? Tight end 7 or higher for you, and anything outside of that is a pie in the face.
I'll do a pie to the face if he on the other side of it.
Now we wait with bated breath.
Or I guess he's tight end 11 off the board. Maybe the over should be set at 11.
Yeah.
He agreed to it.
How about top 10 tight end? Top 10 tight end. Although as much as I would like.
Oh, we're moving the goalposts now.
Well, you don't think he's a top 10 tight end, right? You're picking
Cole Kmet
and all sorts of weirdos. All right. Let's set it at top 10.
But Robert Tonyan had 58 targets and was tight end 5.
Yeah, well, if he scored 11, if Dalton Kincaid scores 11 touchdowns,
tight end 3, I should say.
If Dalton Kincaid scores 11 touchdowns like Tonyan did, I will consider that a best ball success season.
Yeah.
All right, top 10 tight end, pie bet, Kangas. You're coming on the show to do it too. There it is. He goes, I'll agree to whatever you said in that. That's a real sportsman right there.
That's a confident man.
Attaboy, Kangas. All right, loser takes pie in the face. I'm on Team Kangas for this one. Britt, where are you? Are you on? Do you think he's a top 10 tight end or not? If you draft him at 11, do you think he's top 10 tight end?
Yeah, I do. I think, for one, the tight end position is such a wasteland that once you drop out of the top 2, honestly, that it's pretty even. And I think with all those targets, he can sneak up there. But on another level, I really do love him as a pass catcher. And I think that he might be the best receiver, not even just tight end, but best receiver in this entire class. And they would not have moved up to get him if they were not going to utilize him. I think he actually might out target Gabe Davis this year. Gabe Davis only had a 52% catch rate last year, which is not great. So you got to get the ball to a guy who will catch it. And I think that that's Kincaid.
Gabe Davis has yet to be good in fantasy.
No.
He had that really good game against the Chiefs once Tyrann Mathieu got a concussion. But beyond that, I don't know. And it sucks because he seems like a really nice guy. But
I have to be careful what I say about Gabe Davis. He's my daughter's daycare teacher. It's her nephew.
oh,
So
really?
Really?
I can't speak ill of him.
That's
I
interesting.
did once, and they called me out on it. So at the daycare. So
Oh,
I didn't
have
know.
to really mess
know
up
at that
getting
time.
called out at daycare. as
No,
an
so like I was
adult.
walking by the front desk, and there's a Jets fan that sits at the front. So we talk fantasy every day for like 5 minutes. And it was last year at the draft. And he's like, yeah, I got Gabe Davis in like the 4th round. I was like, he's gonna bust. And then like the eyes on me, and I was like, what? What did I say? Oh, I was like, so go UCF.
We're in trouble.
Whoopsies.
All right.
Oh well, it happens.
It does. So,
And you
Boy.
know what? You were right. So
and then he came to the daycare, and I wasn't allowed to come say hi. So
did he really?
I don't know. Apparently he's come once before,
I was like, did he?
but yeah.
Oh, that's so great.
Yeah.
So Colby sniped Reed. Kev, were you looking at him at all?
Probably not. I mean, I like Jaden Reed. Like I said, I think they're going to mix and match all those guys because they are pretty scheme versatile as far as Dobbs, Watson, and Jaden Reed can play all 3 positions of wide receiver. He is playing the first team. I mean, I'm fine with the pick. I would rather at least have a running back. I took the guy that I'm probably going to have like 60% of this year, Jeff Wilson. So I'd rather have Jeff Wilson. I think he's underpriced right now. I think both him and Mostert are a little underpriced. Probably should be closer to A-Chain, though I do, obviously love Devin A-Chain as well. But I took the running back. This point in the draft from like round 10 on, the best pick in every round is a running back.
The best pick right now is about to be made by me after Colby takes the Texan. Ooh, he took Jerome Ford, Britt. Look at that.
Ooh,
Colby's
getting some
at a work
Britt
event for his
Flint's
wife.
steam.
I'm wondering if that's even really Colby. Because, I mean, no Texans. Check this pick out, guys. Check this pick out. Boom. Shakalaka.
It's a nice pick.
Nice.
And I already have Christian
Love to
Watson.
see it.
Double stack. You can't double.
Yeah.
I might triple stack this double stack with.
Damn it, Joey.
Oh, there it is.
And there's
That is just the
He
sweetest
can't
sound.
ride a
It
roller
is.
coaster, and he's not on my team.
Group of friends, and you just hear someone. The best.
I will say this about Rondell Moore. As a rookie, he had like a 50% snap share, and his ADOT was 1.3 yards. Last year, he battled injury, but in a number of those games, he was playing 97, 99% of the snaps.
Yep.
When you say, oh, well, DeAndre Hopkins is hurt. Well, DeAndre Hopkins is gone. And Zach Ertz might miss the start of the season. Rondell Moore goes from a guy that I was not interested in whatsoever to now I am interested in. I'll tell you this, though. For his long-term fantasy value, this is it, right? This is the season where if he's not good on this go shift while they're tanking, then he will likely never be good. So for your dynasty league,
cash him out.
you think so? You cash him out here?
I think he cash him if he gets 100 targets, if he gets like 70 catches, because they're going to be low ADOT. I mean,
might be smart cash
got it.
out. Yeah, if he stays low ADOT, because he went from 1, which is like absurd. That's like running backs are getting higher than that, up to 5, which 5 is still insanely low. Amon-Ra St. Brown is at 7.
6.5, yeah.
6.9, I think he was last year. So like Rondell Moore needs to run real growing up people routes this year, or I'm out. That's it. That's the bottom line, right? Like, is he going to be like, because he struggles with run blocking, obviously with his size. He needs to run real routes and figure out some sort of run blocking that's helpful. Because if you watched from his like rookie year, man, he was getting penalties. Like he couldn't figure it out. Like he was costing his team, just grabbing guys because he couldn't block them. So if he can figure that out, run real routes, then we're in. But I honestly, Kev, this might be the year to try and ship out Rondell Moore if he gets the targets.
Yep, agreed.
And they're definitely going to need help in that run blocking game too, because that offensive line is porous to be nice. And there's already a ton of people who are still rehabbing from last year, who might take a while to get going. So, yeah.
Joey wanted Marquise Brown. He got Marquise Brown at home.
Basically, that's what I did. Yeah,
that
was funny.
And I wanted Rondell Moore, and I got like the Charlie Brown. I got a rock. I got.
If you ever want to send the Twitter trolls running to your Twitter account, do what I did. Tweet out Rondell Moore has an incredible catch percentage, and boy, will the ADOT boys come out to get you.
Yeah, they don't.
Oh, it was ADOT only. It's like I know.
Right? Oh my god, I love that, dude. I was just arguing with somebody. I was almost late for the show because I was just arguing with somebody about tight end.
About ADOT.
Literally, we're bringing up like Charles Cross and like all like some tight end that was like a 6th-round pick like 2 decades ago, and I'm just like, why do I do that? Because I am a Redditor, and I can't behave in public. I truly cannot. I never will.
You're just trouble.
Let me see if he responded to me.
So, how do you think Colby feels about you sniping Singletary? Because he had his eye on him right there.
I imagine he's at a work event right now with his wife. I imagine he's just slammed his hand down on the table, just like hors d'oeuvres going everywhere.
Oh my gosh, you're probably right.
And the Icy took Mechie, dude. Now,
yeah,
it's on now.
He took Van Jefferson though. He could have taken Mechie. I'm telling you, that's not Colby. That's some sort of sleeper.
It's a sleeper agent.
It is, dude.
The cabal got him.
It's probably Fensty or somebody just like logged in.
Oh man. Now we just have to figure it out. Like Colby, blink 2 times if you've been hijacked.
Yeah, so let's look at some of these teams. I like Rock and Roll's team. And I think this is the first time he's drafted with us. I'm not really drafting George Pickens myself, but there's a lot of players in there I do like. Kev, I got to ask you, Romeo Dubs, we doing it? We not doing it?
Yeah, I mean, what's his price? Where'd he go?
Cheap, around 11.
Around 11? Yeah, at that price, yeah. I mean, that dude could be the second target in Green Bay. Like, why not? He was he was relatively efficient. In the limited time that he did play, he did get up, with his routes and snaps, and then he got hurt, and then came back at the very end of the season last year. But I know that he's a day 3 wide receiver. I know those guys are really tough to bank on, but he's still involved in this offense. I still think he's definitely got a puncher's chance to, at least for this year, get close to 100 targets.
Yeah, I don't see why he can't earn that role. Oh, on the clock. Give me Gus Edwards.
Nice.
There's a player that I almost took here. I want to see who takes him. I just didn't want to. There we go. Tyquan Thornton, Kevin Tompkins, good pick. Yeah. So I like what I'm hearing from Tyquan Thornton. He's obviously got the speed. He scored on the end around last year, looked really fast on field. The thing about these OTA practices, though, is that we're talking about unpadded practices, right?
Talking about practice.
We're talking about practice. How am I supposed to make my teammates better by practicing? We're talking about unpadded practices. Of course, Tyquan Thornton's going to look amazing, right? You can't grab him. You can't smack him, right? He's like one of those small speed guys. So, be careful with guys like that when the reports come out. Of course, he's going to score a 70-yard touchdown when you can't jam him. But we'll have to see what he looks like in the padded practices. But so far, reports are good. I just didn't want to stack. I already took Josh Allen and Jordan Love, so I'm not taking a third QB. I didn't want to stack Juju and Tyquan Thornton and then draft Mac Jones and ruin my whole team. So I avoided that. I avoided that potential tragedy by drafting Gus Edwards, super mega star, 5 yards per carry, career Gus Edwards.
You know what, though? I think that he's going to fit in really well with this new offense. I think that last year, both he and Dobbins weren't at 100% like the entire season. And now that they've got another year removed from that ACL injury, I think that they're going to be okay.
Yeah. I mean, the problem is the mobile quarterback. He doesn't dump it down. But maybe the air raid, and Lamar Jackson himself said there will be less running from him, more throwing, right?
Yep.
That's from the man himself. So we'll have to see. But it's when the ball gets snapped and everything's flying around and the colors are blurring and you're Lamar Jackson,
Yeah, you're going to take
the
off.
temptation to take off is there. Like I was not a mobile quarterback. I'm not a fast dude, but in high school, I would do a 3-step drop and then I would just run sometimes, just because the temptation to run is so strong when it's a hard thing to hang in there, to be honest. So we'll have to see if he abides by his new game plan. But,
I wanted to ask Joey real quick while
Ask me a question.
Absolutely, I will do that. This is a fantasy football stream, so I will do just that. Leonard Fournette and Kareem Hunt are the top 2 running backs on the board. Like, how are you approaching these 2 running backs? Are you drafting either of them, letting them sit? Where are you at with those 2?
So for me right now, in this specific draft, the one that we're all doing together, I'm pretty happy with the running back group I got. So I'm not going to tap running back again. I'm not exactly that happy with my wide receivers. So I'm actually going to go wide receiver here with somebody that fell to me, I think. But listen, Fournette and Kareem Hunt, they're going to land on teams and they could have good roles. I'm not so confident in Fournette having a great career going forth, but Kareem Hunt, I think, still has a little bit of juice left in the tank. Actually, tanks don't have juice. They have gas, don't they? I don't know where juice goes.
I think, you know what? I think that
I don't know where juice goes.
In your belly, maybe.
In my belly.
Yeah.
Well, I think that if you want to have well-hydrated soldiers, you would have juice in the soldiers, which would be in the tank. So
this is true. Thank you.
You really think about it there. You would have
Thanks
some
for
juice.
saving me on that one, buddy.
I got you, buddy. Yeah. Juice up that tank and let's go.
Love it.
Great.
Speaking of tank, I took Tank Dell because
love that pick.
because I hate Colby.
And he was in my queue.
I picked right before him.
So you hate me too, obviously.
Yeah. The problem I have with Tank Dell is that he's tiny. Like, Tank is such a misnomer nickname for that player. He's like 5'8", 165. He's Rondell Moore-esque. He could run into some snap share problems. Not to mention they use a fullback over there. I'm going to bash my own pick right now. They are building the 49ers and Dolphins offense that uses Kyle Juszczyk, Alex Ingold at fullback. They brought in Andrew Beck to play fullback. That means one of the wide receivers is going to play a limited snap share. That's just how that works. So Tank Dell potentially facing an uphill battle. I think he's an explosive player. He can make some explosive plays that could pop for this format, but again,
Stroud's banging the table for him apparently. So
yeah, and getting him in the 17th, like, what do you have to lose at that point? Would you rather take some dusty old guy who isn't going to get snaps anyway, or take a chance on a rookie who later on in the season has the potential?
You're talking to, Brett. I can't resist. I can't resist the dusty old guy.
Somebody take Dusty. Is he still? Let me look. Let me type in Dusty.
No, Adam Thielen comes up. He's on my team. I have Michael Thomas and Adam Thielen. So.
Okay, well,
Coop's going to the Sizzler after
it's
this
all
draft.
about balance.
The AARP sponsor team in the draft tonight.
Yeah,
great.
I'm gonna take this. I'm just gonna pick hype exclusives.
Don't. I mean, you're not gonna take who I want.
Here. There's 2 guys I want. I took one of them, but I want to see who takes the other guy.
I got a wide receiver here that if Tank Dell has this receiver's end of the season, I think we'll all be happy.
Tutu Atwell. Look at you,
Okay.
fancy boy.
Fancy.
It's our father's generation's Tyquan Thornton. Just a shame you can't also get Anthony Schwartz because that was your last pick.
Do you know how many 15 ADOT receivers I have at the back end of this team? I have Tutu Atwell, Tyquan Thornton, MVS, Alec Pierce, Jameson Williams. Give me a splash play from them every week and cracking my lineup.
It only takes one, man. It only takes one big play to crack it.
The old 2-4-10-2 build.
My team's the best, and it's not close.
Ooh, the 4. You only had 4 RBs, Kev.
Bijan, Derrick Henry, Damian Harris, Jeff Wilson.
That's plenty.
Wow.
That's plenty. You went heavy RB there, dude.
I almost went hyper fresh. I almost took 3 running backs, and then I didn't like any of them going forward. So I kind of pivoted a little bit.
You got your Khalil Shaker in the 1 millionth round at pick a zillion.
Yeah,
where he goes. So that's a pretty good pick.
I wanted a slot receiver.
Yeah,
That
this
plays for the
dude,
Bills.
That would be Dalton Kincaid.
one of our. I told you guys. I told you these guys were murderers. This is one of the quickest drafts. I don't think there were very few picks that went full to the clock, full 30 seconds.
My Mike Evans pick went to the clock, but that's all right.
I had one that went to the clock that I wanted anyway.
It happens.
Actually, I think Jalen Waddle. I think I auto-drafted Jalen Waddle. A guy I wrote a
Oh, poor you.
I wrote a full article on him. I looked at it. I was like, no. And then I looked back and I was like, oh, all right. They know me. Have any of you guys uploaded your own rankings into?
I did last year a lot.
I did too.
I have not done it this year.
I see. I don't do it because does it keep ADP on there listed?
It does.
It keeps the ADP, and that's always rolling in on like Underdog's ADP. The only thing that I have done is the rank, like that you can set the positional limits. So if you if you time out, it won't like draft like 7 quarterbacks for you.
Yeah, that makes sense. All right, let's take a peek, see at some of these picks. I honestly, the first 2 rounds, I don't see any big reaches. In the 3rd round, not really either. I mean, like I'm going through this draft and it's hard to find what I consider to be the first like big reach.
The quarterbacks have fallen a little bit, like we said they would, just a little bit. Like they're inching back. Like Mahomes at the end of the 2nd, but Hurts and Allen, I think we can expect them to at least settle into the mid-3rd, and I mean certainly a better price in the mid-2nd because I know obviously with Stephon Diggs, Travis Kelce, AJ Brown, a popular move is to just take the wide receiver or tight end and stack them with the quarterback. But if you can get them in the mid-3rd, it's even better.
Right. I just want to see a draft at some point where like 17 running backs go in the first 3 rounds. Like those days are just over now, huh? I mean, it's always like 12 or 13 now. No more, no less.
Well, that's not the style of NFL that we play anymore. There are like 5 real 3 down backs, and the rest of everything's committee. So
except Miles Sanders. Miles Sanders going the 5th round. He's going to be a super duper mega superstar.
I agree on that. I think people are overlooking Sanders, but
Oh.
Anyway, Joey, what were you saying? You were saying something before I interrupted you.
My thoughts once they're there, and I don't hold on to them.
Well, say something different.
I like my Tyler Algier pick. I do think Bijan, of course, is going to be the lead running back in this offense, but they gave what was the total touches, like 529 total touches to the running backs last year. And even if they give 350, let's say they give 350 to Bijan, that leaves like 175, if my math is correct, for Algier. And he was really efficient last year. So in the 15th round, I like that pick. And then I'm not going to say it, but things can happen. Then Algier could have a much bigger role.
You don't say that.
I didn't say it. I'm
going to start calling you Joey Angry Run Wright because you seem to like those angry runners. You're also, correct me if I'm wrong, a Dameon Pierce guy.
I'm a big Dameon Pierce guy. I have a pink shirt with his face all over it.
Right. So those are the two angry run boys. Nick Chubb, Derrick Henry. Also, I'd put in the angry run club. Who are some other guys that? Because I mean, like, from fantasy football perspective, we care about targets and all that. But from a real life perspective, it's hard to argue that those guys aren't good runners, right?
Absolutely. Like you mentioned Dameon Pierce, and I'll just throw a little something like broken tackles. All Dameon Pierce did last season is break tackles. He trailed Nick Chubb and Derrick Henry and played 5 less games. And he only trailed them by 12. That you need to look up because I'm not off the top of my head, but he was behind just those 2 guys. So, yeah.
And 2.3 yards after contact, it's just crazy. He's like, get off me.
Damn.
And then the criticism on him is he didn't finish the season out. And it's like, okay, this is first year. We'll see if it happens again next year, well, then I'll tail off. But right now, he's going as the 20th running back. I'm happy as my RB2. I'm not taking as my RB1. I'm not getting crazy, but
I got the numbers here. For regular season, no playoffs, Josh Jacobs, 90 forced missed tackles in 17 games. That's quite a few. Nick Chubb had 83. Those guys were far and away the top two. Derrick Henry had 69 in 16 games. Damian Pierce had 62 in only 13 games. Next is Travis Etienne with 57 in 17 games. But he's all these guys, Etienne, Najee Harris, Aaron Jones, Tyler Algier, Dalvin Cook, they all played 17, 16 games. Damian Pierce was ahead of all of them. So yeah, he was running hard to say the least.
Mm-hmm.
Fancy.
You know, another guy who I think could make a case for an angry runner this year, if conditions are right, is Eric Gray on the Giants. In his time in Oklahoma, he had like a 6.4 yards per carry average. And that was on an Oklahoma team with a losing record that didn't have the luxury to run out the clock and just keep feeding him the ball. So I've kind of got my eye out on him. And if Saquon holds out, I'm flag planning that he's going to have a super de-duper good year.
Did you end up doing the article on that?
Yeah, I did.
Yes. So that's available where, Britt?
Over on fantasyalarm.com.
Wow. There's a lot of cool stuff over there. In fact, coming June 15th is our draft guide. That is going to be, I believe, $25 range. Don't quote me on that. But if you become a Fantasy Alarm member now using promo code COOP, which gives you 50% off of the next 6 months, you get that draft card as part of that. You also get access to all of our sports, not just football. So pretty much the entire rest of baseball season. NASCAR, where we have the back-to-back and 3 out of 4 last year, Writer of the Year, Matthew Sells. You get that. You get the rest of finals DFS for basketball. That's all behind the paywall. NHL, behind the paywall. Promo code COOP right now gets you all that. And it gets you into our Discord. We get you to hang out with us and do drafts like this. Every single person in this draft is behind that paywall. They're family members. They know more about football than you. That's a fact. And you can get that right now. So get signed up for that. Use promo code Fantasy Alarm on Underdog and get in there. And then we can do these drafts. You can do them with us. You can be a superhero like Kangas or Colby Conway or Punch. So that's what's up. That's what we got going on. Joey, tell the people what you have going on over at Football Guys, over at Front Yard Fantasy, many of your endeavors. What do you have happening?
Yeah, you can find me 5 days a week over at Front Yard Fantasy here on the Better Sports Network or wherever you're watching this. I'm also with Football Guys. I'm part of the Pretend GM with Alfredo Brown. I'm going to be on the launch pad with Dave Kluge and Jeff Bell for the next 4 weeks doing sleepers and busts. And yeah, just having a good time. I might put my hat back on, do some fun stuff in nature coming up here soon.
Do you recognize this, Joey?
That's my microphone that I left in Las Vegas. I ran out of chips and I was playing craps and I was like, all I have is this, what is it, a Blue Yeti?
That's
it's
right.
Like, all I have is this Blue Yeti mic. And then Coop grabbed it and ran.
I won. So. Yeah. So I'm going to give that to Mike Viola to bring to you at the expo. All right, guys, that's it for us. Thank you so much for tuning in. Hit like, hit subscribe on that Fantasy Alarm YouTube channel. We'll catch you